Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our producer, Jeff Durall. We're at the Ellis County Extension Office in the meeting room. Joining us is Ellis County Extension Family and Consumer Science Agent Linda Beech as we talk about the holidays.
Holidays, what a wonderful season.
And she came prepared. She already has the Christmas Planner Notebook, Linda.
That's right. You know, part of being able to manage all the things that happen during the holidays is kind of goes with the old song, making a list, checking it twice. I'm a good list maker. And a friend of mine created this holiday planner notebook to keep everything together. So, you know, it's a great place to keep track of the Christmas gifts you bought and maybe where you hid them, or whether they've been wrapped or not.
Good point.
You know, take Christmas gifts to make. I don't do as many of those. Christmas card list. My friend has all of these things in here. Lists for your Christmas menu so you don't serve your guests the same thing twice in a row. My house, they might be just lucky to get food. Decorating lists. So having a plan to approach the holiday season and getting it on paper so you don't have to keep it in your head seems to be a helpful strategy for me.
Everything from menu planning to which cords go with which strings of Christmas tree lights.
You know, I got my Christmas tree out this year, and on the top of the box was a little note I had written to myself last year when I put it away that said where the strings of lights were stored that go with it, since they weren't in the box. And I thought, oh, that's so helpful. Now I don't have to go look for those. So yeah, mark the cords that go together.
And the categories you have, Linda, are the year, the designation or description, the storage area, and some things that you might need. And
exactly.
The columns go for each of the different categories.
Right, exactly. And just a quick note to yourself might be a way to keep it organized.
Okay. And in addition to that, of course, this Christmas planner includes the calendar, the list that you want to make.
Right.
Now, this type of presentation, is it something that we can put together now for next year, maybe?
Sure. You know, I really think that keeping a running list, maybe is a way to say it, keeping track from year to year makes everything so much easier. This happens to be put together in a notebook on paper. I'm kind of a paper person, but maybe if you're an electronic person, you want to keep this information stored on your computer or on your phone with an app. And so just the matter of keeping that running list. Who do I send Christmas cards to? Who did I receive Christmas cards from? And in my house, as the cost of cards and stamps and such continues to go up, if I don't hear from you for 2 or 3 years in a row, you might be taken off my list as well. So just some of those sorts of things that you would keep track of otherwise can all be put together in one place.
This really keys on planning ahead, doesn't it, Linda?
You know, I really think that as we approach the holidays and the number of tasks that are involved, I think it's good to have some kind of a plan, to be able to think ahead a little bit. Making your lists is certainly a place to start. I also thought it's worth thinking about making a budget as well. In planning ahead, that means sort of taking a look at what the costs may add up to be as well, and just making sure that that's something that fits your financial life and will make January as festive as December is when all the bills start coming in.
And that planning list, or the Christmas planner, if you will, Linda, could certainly go a long way toward that budget, whether it's writing down how much you spend on Christmas decorations or menu items or presents, those types of things.
You know, it's easy to think about the Christmas gifts as the big expenditure for the holidays, and certainly they are. But when you take into account all those other things that you mentioned, decorations, gift wrap, postage and Christmas card expenses, the extra high cost spices or ingredients that you might buy for holiday baking, the total package of the holidays really adds up. And for a number of years, I was a single parent raising a couple of kids, and I needed to make sure that I kept track of my financial situation. And so I did keep track of all of those associated holiday expenses. And it's amazing how some of those accessory items really start to add in some of the costs. And knowing what I had spent one year helped me save ahead through the coming year so that I could face a Christmas budget with a little bit of planned money set aside rather than just forging into it and hoping I could figure out how to pay the bills later.
Something else you have an experience with as trying to juggle all of the things for the holidays is priorities. You've really got to set priorities, don't you?
I think that the holidays can overwhelm a family, and they can overwhelm mom in particular, since she may be the person who takes the lead on the extra cooking. She may be the person who takes the lead on the shopping, perhaps. So, yeah, I think that trying to find out or figure out for yourself and your family what's most important and keeping in mind why you're doing the things that you choose to do is really a key. And I find that as family situations change, we all get older, we have young ones who marry, we have maybe families that split up. Our situations change, our holidays maybe need to change as well. And so knowing what's important in our family makes that easier to determine the kinds of tasks that we will agree to take on.
I'm glad you said that, because we think of holidays as tradition, if you will, but sometimes those traditions have to change based on changing situations.
Oh, sure. You know, the traditions you developed as a young family with little children and the Santa Claus stockings and, you know, all of those sorts of things really do evolve as the family ages and situations change. And so what is it about the tradition that we love the most? Is it the stockings and the gifts? Is it being together on Christmas morning and maybe not necessarily having stockings, but coffee and cinnamon rolls instead? You know, what is it that we want to really hang on to? And what are some tasks or opportunities or challenges that we're ready to leave behind and create a new tradition?
I was going to say, don't feel necessities to hang on to the old, but maybe look at some new as well.
Exactly. And yeah, what is it that fits? As we look at gathering with family, does it have to be on the calendar date of Christmas? Maybe that's really critical for your family, but maybe it's not. Maybe you could move to the weekend so that workers can travel and join the family celebrations. Or as you're trying to juggle his and hers sides of the family, maybe it's okay to develop some different traditions on how that happens so that you can spend time with the people you love.
Maybe some tips on de-stressing for the holidays, Linda?
Oh, that's an important thing. And why is it that a season that's supposed to be filled with peace, love, and joy ends up making us feel so frazzled? I do think it's because we have so many tasks that we have to make a list to keep track of all of them, and so many things to accomplish in a short period of time. I think starting ahead, planning ahead, starting early, and prioritizing what you want to do are keys to start with. However, I do think that there are some things that each of us as individuals can think about in getting through that holiday time period. I have what I call the holiday pledge. The holiday pledge to myself that I have tried to share with folks over the years. And it's a 3-part pledge. For the holidays, I promise not to overdo, overspend, or overeat. And that, I think, may make the holidays a little more joyful. So if we're not going to overdo, that means maybe paring down some of the the invitations we accept or some of the shopping trips that we set up for ourselves. If we're not going to overspend, maybe that means simplifying the gift buying, spending less, simpler meals that cost less. And if we're not going to overeat, well, that might save us money as well, save us food preparation and baking time, but also makes January a little more friendly as that rolls around, a little less stressful when we step on the scale after the holidays.
So basically, the bottom line here is taking care of yourself so that everything else can fall into place more smoothly.
Exactly. I think the adults in the family have got to do that. You know, as we focus on children and their excitement and thrill of this season, there are so many things we want to do for our families and do for our kids. But if as adults we can't keep up with it and we're cranky or, feeling exhausted or broke, that takes away from the joy of the season for everyone. So taking care of yourself is a really important key.
There are a lot of ties too. You mentioned the financial tips for the holidays. When you're stressed about finding enough funds to fund the holiday, whether it's through gifts or meals or whatever, that can cause some real stress as well.
Financial stress, yes, it takes a terrible toll on families. And, we may think of the holidays being a concentrated time of spending that we take care of when the bills come in. But what about families or individuals who can't, who find themselves in debt and having to pay interest charges to be able to accomplish those holiday tasks? That really takes the joy out of the season, and financial stresses and strains are a very difficult challenge for families sometimes.
How do we get on the Christmas planner book list? How do you find out what's in this? Do you have the website? Does this have this on it?
This doesn't necessarily. No, I don't necessarily have that on the website. I think instead it might be worth just thinking about the kinds of things you have to keep track of and pulling them all together in one place. Now, like I said, this is in a notebook. I also have a filing system at my house that works for me. Your phone connection might do it as well. But just think about, okay, the first thing in my book here obviously is a calendar. And getting everybody's dates and all the programs and the parties and everything pulled together on one master calendar is critical. You want to do it on paper? That's great. You can do it in the notebook. You can keep it on your refrigerator. You can keep it electronically, whatever works. And as far as the lists, my creative friend has just made a list for all the things that you might be keeping lists for anyway. The Christmas shopping list, her family is big stocking stuffers. The things you're going to make, the cards you're going to mail, how you're going to keep track of menus and things. So, I can share some of these master forms, but personalizing them for yourself is probably what's most effective and helpful.
You really have to do what works for you.
I think you do, exactly. And, while having the notebook is really helpful, I also have the little clipped collection of papers in my purse, and for years while my children were little, I carried that around. What did I buy them last year? What am I thinking about this year? Here's this year's clipped on to last year's and the year before, just so I have sort of a thumbnail quick look at what I've got, what I already bought, what we need to think about for this coming year.
Great tips, Linda. Linda Beech, Ellis County Extension Family and Consumer Science Agent from the Ellis County Extension Office, a community connection. Thanks for watching.